Hello and welcome back, everyone. Today, what we are going to learn is slightly different. Okay, I think you might have heard this phrase or seen this on the internet. Viva la France, Viva la Revolution. If you watch WWE, there was a player called Eddie Guerrero. He had this slogan of Viva la Raza. So this word Viva, all right, it comes from a Latin word that is vivo. Vivo is a verb in Latin language that means to live. Anything that has life, anything that possesses consciousness, to live, to survive, all these synonyms apply to this verb of vivo. Okay, now this particular information is not important. What is important is how is this verb used to make different words, and all those words have very similar meaning. Once when you know the meaning, or once when you know the meaning of the root word through which that word has come into practice, it is easy for you to know the meaning of that word or understand the meaning of that word. Sometimes what happens is we are in a conversation, somebody uses a word, we don't have that luxury of taking out our phone, googling it, or using a dictionary. We have to gauge the meaning of the word based on what is the context of the sentence, what is the other person trying to communicate. So in that situation, if you know the meaning of the root verb or the root word, it becomes easy for you. So right now what we are going to learn is multiple words that use the same verb, that is vivo. Vivo is a verb in Latin that means to live. Okay. Now let us start with a very common or not so common word. I don't know if you guys have seen this or have come across this word or not, but there's a word called vivacious. Okay, imagine Ranveer Singh. He has that exuberant, lifestyle or that energy. So somebody who is full of life, somebody who is usually very energetic. Whenever you meet them, they are always in a positive mood. They're always in this, let's go do that, let's go do this, let's not delay. So people who are full of life, full of enjoyment, and they are living their life, that is when you use the word vivacious. So if I had to use, this is an adjective by the way, if I had to use this in a sentence, how would I use it? A vivacious personality. There are very few people I can think of from the public domain who have a vivacious personality, but usually you'll meet people here and there in your daily life. If you are a student in your schools, some students have that vivacious personality. Now this is an adjective. If you had to transform this into a noun, you can either add city, that is vivacity, or vivaciousness. That is how you transform this adjective into noun. All right, there is another word that comes to your mind or should come to your mind when we use the same root. Vivid. Have you heard of this word? Obviously yes. Vivid is something that is sharp or something that you recall properly. Okay, so let us say I remember vividly that my teachers always told me that study math and science. What would you do with English and SS? Because those were the subjects that I was really interested in school. Math already, although I scored very well in math and sciences, but my real interest was in languages and social sciences. But that is besides the point. Vivid is when you have some sharp recollection of something. I vividly remember. Vivid also has a different meaning when you use it in the sense of visual. Vivid colors. So anything that has sharpness or anything that you can recall properly, a vivid imagination, okay, so on and so forth. All right, so that is another word. One more word that comes to my mind that uses the same root of vivo is, there is a word called, I'm not able to, vivisection. There is also another word, similar word, vivification. Section over here is to cut. So when you cut live animals, okay, testing of medicines on live animals is called vivisection. When you break or when you cut something that is alive, that is animals, for scientific use, whatever medicines that we consume, whatever dermatology products that we consume, they are obviously first tested on animals. I know it's cruel, it is, morally debatable, so on and so forth, but these things go on inside the world that we live in. So vivisection is, cutting open live animals to test your dermatology products. Vivification, however, Bharat was vivified in 1944 when Pakistan and Bangladesh were made out to be a separate countries, when they were given geography from our holy homeland. So Bharat was vivified when you cut open and when you divide. That is vivification. All right. Another word that uses the same of vivo, that is something that has life, is, I forget, viviparous. Okay. Now to understand this word, vivi again means alive or live. Paras means to give birth. Okay, so human beings, mammals, and all the other mammals, they give birth to live ones. So those are called viviparous animals. Opposite of viviparous is oviparous. Oviparous is animals that give birth through eggs. So all these words that we have learnt, vivacious, vivid, vivisection, viviparous, all these words, they use the root of vivo. That means live. Thank you for watching.